Lord be with you, and a warm welcome to you from all of us here at Powers Court with Kilbride. Well, it's the Friday before the Sunday that you'll see this, and I'm sitting underneath my favourite tree, and there's a sense of peace around the rectory garden this morning. I have a little robin up in the branches above my head. They had this year what I call a tweedy, a little young robin who hasn't yet got the red chest, and he looks like he's wearing tweed, that kind of mottled little grey-brown colour. You're very welcome to join me today as we hear again the scripture of Martha and Mary and discover the two parts of ministry, I suppose you could say, to the Christ in this world. But first, this morning, as we draw together, let's just pause for a few moments at the feet of the Christ in prayer.
Now as they went on their way, he entered a certain village where a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. She had a sister named Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to what he was saying. But Martha was distracted by her many tasks. So she came to him and asked him, "Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her then to help me." But the Lord answered her, "Martha, Martha, you are worried and distracted by many things. There is need of only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, which will not be taken away from her."
When we look at the story of Mary and Martha, that little trapped scene in Scripture, we would be forgiven for thinking that they represent two very different types of disciples when it comes to acting and living in the name of Christ. I suppose you could say that it compares the spiritual in Mary with the very practical in Martha. And we would be also forgiven for thinking that there are certain different types of disciples out there. But I wanted to offer to you today that it's possible that these two different characteristics, if you like, are also present in just one individual. They can be present in every disciple of Christ. You have the combination of the spiritual and the practical. But I wanted to look very closely at this little story today, and in particular what happens Martha that brings upon her the conversation with Jesus in the first place. Martha's love language is nurturing, isn't it? And we have known many Marthas, I'm sure, in our day. If you're not a Martha yourself, you've certainly known many. And so she is caring about the guests in her house, that she provides for them hospitality and care, and everything that they might need is catered for. And on the other hand, sitting at the feet of Jesus is Mary, who is absolutely absorbing him and everything that he is saying and connecting with him. And I think it's likely that Martha starts off absolutely fine, her own characteristics of giving and loving and nurturing those within her care on that particular occasion. But noticing Mary makes her change her focus, and she starts to operate from a place of lack. So she's no longer fully focused on the care of other people. Now she's looking at what somebody else is doing, and she's saying, well, that's actually not fair. There's a sense of injustice to all of this, that she's working so hard and her sister is not. With this change, she becomes what I very fondly like to refer to as a pot walloper. It's a fantastic phrase. I'm just in the kitchen pot walloping, means I'm getting the dinner ready. But in this particular pot walloping scenario, it paints a very vivid picture of Martha clanging and banging around the kitchen and feeling really disgruntled while Mary is peacefully sitting at the feet of the Christ. And there is a level of stress to the pot walloping that is taking place in Martha's life. And it's that level of stress that I wanted to look at today. God responds to our requests in a most distinctly different way. And let me give you an example. You can't ask God to make you brave and receive bravery overnight. Rather, what he'll do is he will gently take you by the hand and bring you into, I'd like to call it, a living room within yourself, with him. And into that living room, he will invite your fear or your fears, whatever they might be, in this particular scenario of bravery. And he will sit with you as you entertain those fears, as you look at them in their face, as you listen to their voices with compassion. And at the end of the meeting, I like to think over tea, yourself and God will bid these fears farewell. They will have been heard, and what will have happened in your life is an actual transformation. So this might happen over a period of time, but the final outcome is not courage. The final outcome is transformation, and you will walk away realizing that the courage was given all along to face those fears in the first place. Six years ago, I was under immense stress. I was running around like a headless chicken. I had several balls in the air and I wanted to keep them all up and functioning. And I was desperately trying to please everybody. It was my first time as being a rector and I was really only learning the job. And what became cyclical for me was again and again I would fall ill. Then I would recover, then I would go off again juggling, and then I would fall ill. Until after several years of this kind of a pace, this pot walloping in my life, I actually came to the feet of the Christ and I said to him, can you please help me with this? Because I can't do it for myself. And into my inner room, he sat with me as we invited the little child who from a very early age started to please people in order to keep herself safe. Started to feel that if nobody was falling out with her, then everyone would accept her and she would be okay. And we sat also with the woman, the young woman into older age, who had adopted these habits for all of her life as if they were the norm. And when we faced these habits or characteristics, let's call them, and we heard them speak and we heard their story with compassion, we bid them farewell. And what was left at the end of the day is something quite remarkable. My pot walloping has stopped. I am living my life now, most times, because in this job chaos can suddenly set upon one, as several things can happen all at the one time. But by and large, day to day, I am living my life at a completely different rhythm. Now, I have to add that everything that needs to be done is being done. It's all taking place and more at times, but I am walking in God's rhythm as a result of sitting at his feet and asking him to help with a particular pot walloping scenario that I had going on in my life. Jesus telling Martha that Mary had the right idea was to say to her that if you were to come and sit at my feet, if you are to go and sit at his feet, to absorb him, to learn to communicate with him on a daily basis, on a constant basis, or even on a once-off, Jesus Christ, please help me with this. What will happen is the beginning of a journey. What will happen is a new set of a rhythm. What will happen within your own heart is a greater sense of peace and joy. If you begin with being Mary, the Martha in your life, the Martha in your personality will operate smoothly, will be able to focus completely on the nourishment that she is giving to the people who walk into her house, which is her life. All because she started at the feet of the Christ himself.
There is a rhythm to be found when walking with the one who knows no solid pace on human ground, but always present, endless flows. And all required is that we pause to sit with him and gently shed the rhythms of the world that cause the stresses into which we're led. There he will take us by the hand and walk with us throughout each day and open us to understand the timeless and eternal sway. And endless peace will dwell within when I am keeping step with him.